Hello and welcome back to the Eastwick Conference's film breakdown series, where today I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell, who put up 45 points last night on national television against the Orlando Magic to go with 4 rebounds and 4 assists, shot 15 for 25 from the field, 5 for 8 from three-point range. Donovan is having an exceptional season, the highest scoring output of his career, currently averaging 29.5 points per game. This game was the latest in a number of just incredible scoring performances from him. And so today I am going to talk about it and what makes him so deadly as an offensive threat. So the biggest thing that popped for me in this game was how much and how easily Donovan was able to get to the basket. And it really isn't that surprising considering this guy is one of the most athletic guards in the NBA. But you can see early in the clock, he's able to get downhill. He has enough of a frame that he can body up bigger players like that. And then the craft right here, getting right underneath 3 defenders to get to the rim. But then he also has this wicked crossover. He gets free throws there that time. But he does a great job with his handle to set up defenders and get where he wants to go on the floor. Here, Mo Wagner is switched onto him, has no chance, leans one way, crosses over to the other, and he gets right to the basket. And then on this play, crosses over on the pick and roll there. And I mean, even when he loses the ball on a possession, he's going to get a 3-point play out of it. This guy really could not miss. Everything was going in. But then also in the pick and roll, I'm going to rewind just a second, because the crossover also has a functionality in more structured settings other than just working his way to the rim earlier in the clock. Here, he comes off of this screen by Evan Mobley. The Magic defense is in something of a high drop to stop him from just turning this corner and getting all the way to the basket. And so he's able to use this crossover to get from one side of the floor to the other, flip that defender's hips, and get past him to the basket. This example with Paolo Banchero is a great one. That hesitation sets up that cross into that burst right to the basket, gets right by a slower-footed forward. But then also he has some other craft in the pick and roll where kind of a similar setup, but he uses his dribble and again, that sort of change of pace to snake this pick and roll, comes off of the screen. Wendell Carter Jr. is there in the middle, and so he kind of freezes him with that dribble little jab move, and he gets right to the floater, which is another thing. If you can't get all the way to the rim, if you have a shot in the short mid-range, it's really great, and he was able to there once again put the defender on his hip and finish over the top for another and one. So we're going to get to the shooting because he is one of the most prolific three-point shooters in the NBA. But in my opinion, for any real scorer other than Steph Curry probably, the biggest threat that you have to set up for a defense is your ability to get to the basket. Because if the defense has to play that, then that opens up the rest of your scoring game. And Donovan, with his athleticism and his handle and his relentlessness getting to the rim, was too much for the Magic to handle last night. As I just mentioned, though, Donovan Mitchell is one of the most prolific shooters in the league. I'm going to start with the mid-range because this one's important. Here you see the Magic switch the pick and roll, where instead of putting the big in sort of a high drop like they did in the first half there that we just saw, where Mitchell can just get into the middle of the floor and pick them apart, they decided to do something else, throw him a different coverage, and so he can just take Wendell Carter off the dribble, get right to that free throw line, stop and pop. He has a really great base on these jump shots. And then this one was just crazy to beat the halftime buzzer. Rainbow shot, nothing but net right over Noah Penda. He's just such a dynamic shooter. But the meat and potatoes of Mitchell's shooting is from three-point range. He's taking just under 10 threes per game, and he's shooting 38.5%. That blend of volume and efficiency is really hard to come across. But something that I want to highlight is his rate of assisted threes. This season, only 61% of his threes are assisted, which is a pretty low number league-wide. I mean, that means he's taking just about 4 out of every 10 of his threes off the dribble, which is a really impressive number. But I think when people think of Donovan Mitchell's three-point shooting, they think of an off-the-dribble operator. That number, 61%, is just about the highest it's ever been in his career. Compare that to last year when he made first-team All-NBA, was the best player on a 64-win team. That number was at 50%. And so he is actually taking more threes off the catch, and we saw that in this game. He's a guy that you just can't leave open. This is a chaos situation where the ball comes out to him, but wide open, it's just you're going to get burned so much more often than not. This one, he actually doesn't take a whole lot of corner threes, but once again, you see Desmond Bane and Anthony Black both lose track of him, and he can just fill that corner and get right to that shot. You cannot leave him open in those situations. He's going to make you pay. And then here, I really like this one, where he actually sets the screen for Tyrese Proctor to come off and then catches and shoots. Using him in more dynamic ways like that we haven't always seen from him throughout his career, I think is really great. But As I said, if he's taking six assisted threes, he's taking four unassisted, and he had a couple of his signature, in my opinion, threes, and these are those walk-ups either in transition off a turnover or off of a rebound in the early clock. Just stop and pop. Again, you can see the base on that jumper. He has such a pretty jump shot, and he takes a whole lot of them, and he makes a whole lot of them. So I said it, he's averaging 29.5 points per game. That is a career high. Last year, when this Cavs team was just a buzzsaw and a juggernaut on the offensive end, he did take a step back in terms of his role, in terms of both minutes played and actual offensive responsibility. He only averaged around 24 points per game, but was first team All-NBA because he contributed so much to an elite team offense. This year, between roster changes and really a lot of injuries to Darius Garland, this Cavs season has not gone nearly, I think, the way that they or I anticipated it. He has had to step up in a major way. Obviously, the scoring is way up. This team is so much better when he's on the floor than when he's off. By far, the loudest signals that show he is the guy carrying the burden for this team, especially on the offensive end. He's having an absolutely stellar season. I don't want that to go under the radar. And quietly, Cleveland is 7-3 in their last 10 games, starting to maybe figure some things out at the right time as the All-Star break is coming up, and then sooner or later we're going to be in the playoffs. So if this team can figure the things out that they've needed to at the start of the year, this is a sleeping giant, as I've said multiple times this season. And if they're going to make any noise in the playoffs, I think that Donovan Mitchell is going to have his fingerprints all over it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it as always, and I hope that you have a great day.